The Roman Dodecahedron. The mystery has finally been solved. These objects, which are sort of maybe 2,000 years old, the 300-year-old mystery as to exactly what these were used for has finally been solved.
For more than 2 centuries, scholars regarded it as an archaeological anomaly, an object attributed to Rome, yet never described in Roman texts, never depicted in Roman art, and never formally acknowledged in imperial records. In 2025, however, metallurgical testing forced a dramatic reassessment. The conclusion was not simply unexpected, it was foundationally disruptive. The object was not Roman. Laboratory analysis indicated that it predated Rome's invasion of Britain by at least 150 years, placing its origin before sustained Roman contact with the region. Within its hollow interior, researchers identified microscopic traces of cremated human bone fused with ritual substances that do not correspond to any known Roman funerary practice. For Dr. Elena Richter, a specialist with more than 2 decades of experience analyzing Roman bronze artifacts, the deeper concern was structural. The alloy composition, casting methods, and geometric precision did not align with Roman manufacture. Yet, neither did they fit cleanly within the established Celtic archaeological record. The artifact appeared older than Rome and resistant to classification within any civilization historians believed they understood. An object Rome never mentioned. Ancient Rome was defined by documentation. Military treatises, engineering manuals, taxation ledgers, even graffiti were recorded with remarkable thoroughness. Roman infrastructure reflects that mindset. Roads engineered for durability, aqueducts constructed with mathematical precision, administrative systems rooted in standardization. Yet, across this vast archive, there is no mention of the object now known as the Roman dodecahedron. The artifact itself is a small hollow bronze form composed of 12 pentagonal faces. Each face contains a circular opening, and no 2 openings are exactly the same diameter. At every vertex sits a rounded knob, carefully cast and sometimes individually soldered. The workmanship is deliberate and refined. Its purpose remains unknown. Just over 130 confirmed specimens have been catalogued, an unusually small number for a culture that mass-produced objects in the thousands. Coins, weapons, and tools appear in vast quantities. The dodecahedron does not. Its geographic distribution intensifies the mystery. Every confirmed example has been recovered from Rome's outer provinces, Britain, Gaul, and Germania. None have been found in Rome itself, none in Italy, none in the Eastern Mediterranean. For an empire defined by uniformity and centralized identity, this absence is striking. The silence extends to imagery. Thousands of Roman reliefs depict tools, rituals, and daily life. Not one portrays a dodecahedron. No carving, no fresco, no mosaic, no textual reference. The omission appears systematic rather than accidental. Theories that failed. Over time, scholars and enthusiasts proposed explanations. Some suggested the objects functioned as candlestick holders, yet no specimen bears wax residue, soot, or scorching. Others proposed they were military rangefinders, used by soldiers to estimate distance by aligning the holes. However, the apertures vary significantly, even within a single object, making standardized measurement implausible. No example has been found in direct association with military equipment. A popular modern theory suggested they were knitting gauges for sizing gloves, but Roman textile production required no such bronze instruments, and the advanced metallurgy necessary to cast these precise geometric forms far exceeds what would be required for garment making. No wool fibers have ever been recovered from their interiors. Each explanation unraveled under scrutiny. The objects are too fragile for combat, too complex for toys, too inconsistent for measuring devices. Yet they required skill, resources, and expensive bronze to produce. For more than 200 years, academia had no framework capable of explaining them. That changed in 2023, the Norton Disney discovery. In the summer of 2023, volunteers conducting a controlled archaeological excavation in Norton Disney, England, uncovered a bronze dodecahedron under scientifically documented conditions. Unlike many earlier discoveries recovered without precise context, this specimen was excavated layer by layer in a sealed stratigraphic environment. It had not been casually dropped. It had been deliberately buried. The object was found alongside 3rd century coins, pottery fragments, and iron tools. Soil analysis revealed post-hole patterns indicating a villa or workshop structure nearby. The burial context suggested intention rather than accident. Its preservation was exceptional. The bronze surface retained a smooth patina, free of major corrosion or structural damage. The soldered knobs remained intact. When lifted into sunlight, its geometry projected layered pentagonal shadows, patterns that appeared almost engineered to respond to light. In early 2025, metallurgical and radiometric testing on the Norton Disney specimen and comparable museum examples yielded decisive results. The alloy composition matched pre-Roman Celtic metallurgy. Dating analysis placed its manufacture at least 150 years before Roman occupation of Britain. If accurate, the object could not have originated as a Roman imperial tool. It belonged to an indigenous tradition that Rome later encountered, but did not create. What was sealed inside? Radiochemical analysis of residue within the hollow chamber deepened the implications. Spectrometry revealed microscopic traces of calcium phosphate fused with amber resin and rendered animal fat, materials associated with funerary rites in Iron Age Europe. More significantly, isotopic testing identified the signature of cremated human bone. Human remains in burial contexts are not unusual. What was unusual was their presence sealed within a carefully constructed geometric vessel. The residue did not appear accidental or contaminant. It appeared intentional. When researchers examined the broader distribution of dodecahedra, a pattern emerged. They are concentrated along Rome's western frontier, regions culturally Roman on the surface, yet spiritually rooted in pre-Roman traditions. Many have been found near burial grounds, river crossings, and settlement boundaries, locations regarded in ancient belief systems as liminal spaces between worlds. Several specimens display minimal wear, suggesting they were not everyday tools. They may have been used for specific ceremonial purposes and then concealed. Roman law, including statutes such as the Lex Cornelia, criminalized unauthorized divination and unsanctioned religious practices. Objects associated with forbidden rites would not have been formally recorded. Suppression would leave little trace. In late 2024, a medieval Latin manuscript examined in a Swiss monastic archive introduced an additional dimension. The text referred to an orbis divinorum, a divine sphere, described as a bronze object with 12 pierced faces and rounded protrusions. It warned that such spheres were not to be shown under imperial authority and were to be buried according to specific astronomical cycles. Though written centuries later, the manuscript appears to preserve fragments of earlier oral traditions. The description aligns closely with known dodecahedra: light, ritual, and silence. To better understand the object's physical properties, researchers at Ghent and Oxford produced precision-printed replicas. When exposed to direct sunlight, the replicas projected symmetrical beams through their varied apertures. During equinox simulations, the shadows formed near-perfect pentagonal outlines that rotated gradually throughout the day. One researcher described the phenomenon as resembling a solar dial without numerical markings. Further laboratory analysis of authentic specimens revealed burnt organic matter, carbon residues, oxidized copper salts, animal blood proteins, and botanical traces including lavender, thyme, and pine resin, plants historically associated with funerary rituals. The chemical signatures suggested deliberate burning of ritual substances within or near the object. Despite more than 130 documented examples, the dodecahedron has never been the focus of a major sustained research initiative. Some museums held specimens for decades before publicly exhibiting them. Academic discussions have occasionally characterized the topic as difficult to fund and professionally risky. Whether due to limited evidence or disciplinary caution, the artifact has remained peripheral in mainstream narratives of ancient Europe. Yet the absence itself raises questions. If Rome left no record of these objects, If they were omitted from official art, texts, and administrative documentation, what does that silence represent? The Roman Dodecahedron endures as one of antiquity's most compelling mysteries, not because it provides clear answers, but because it resists them.